Viewers, he's spoken for 42 minutes. At approximately 7:30 this evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi delivered a lofty address, in part to the Bharatiya Janata Party's workers, the Karyakarta, but also to a wider audience across the country that has reposed its faith via bipoles in the Bharatiya Janata Party. The address had the kind of positivity that for the last few months we have lost. In his own signature style, Prime Minister Modi credited the robustness of India's democratic institutions and the faith of India's ordinary citizen in them for what he described at the end of the day a triumph of participatory democracy. Yes, the result from Bihar and the other by-elections was the backdrop, but his words were of greater significance. And they provide definitely a relief from the reactionary, quarrelsome affectations of politicians in general, viewers, who are immersed in a political contest. So at a time like this, when India is facing unparalleled challenges in the form of a COVID outbreak, Chinese external aggression, an economy that has been faltering because of the effects of COVID, India needed to hear that its Prime Minister and its government were still working and working for the people. It also wanted to hear that the Prime Minister himself was grateful for the support that he has been receiving and the vindication that he perhaps now feels, which has been delivered as a bucking trend verdict from Bihar and the several other bipoles across the length and breadth of the country. The Prime Minister leaves tonight the BJP headquarters in the belief that his policies are going the right way, in the right direction, and that the people are actually expressing their gratitude by pressing the button. That would be what the Prime Minister would believe. Of course, the Prime Minister's words would be anathema to a cabal of negativists who have been questioning the credibility of India's democratic institutions, the credibility of the Prime Minister's policies. They wanted their Biden moment, but that didn't quite happen. Viewers, these individuals have also been reminded by the Prime Minister that they are out of touch, locked as they are behind their ivory towers, and they're cut off totally from the people's aspirations, and they don't quite feel the pulse of the people anymore. The Prime Minister himself referred to this by commenting first on the Parivarvad parties and also, of course, the patricians who provide an echo chamber for the negativity that has been flowing out in what is called often constructive criticism from the opposition ranks. So it's all masked, but basically what it is unvarnished diatribe against the Prime Minister's personage. That's what it boils down to. The people, of course, have vindicated the Bharatiya Janata Party, and through the Bharatiya Janata Party, the Prime Minister, as he, of course, owes his very existence to the party and the Karyakarta who he thanked today and who he appreciated and recognized as a co-stakeholder in the entire process of outreach that he has patented with such perfection. Now, viewers, we are also joined by the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson, Amit Malviya. Amit Malviya, I'm just going to play out a couple of sound bites of the Prime Minister's speech. You, of course, have heard it live at the BJP headquarters. It's a momentous day. The Prime Minister the function was perhaps held in very trying circumstances, and the vindication that he sought for his policies, there must have been a degree of uncertainty he has got. But first, let's listen to him as he acknowledges the people first. Let's listen in.
साथियों, हमारे यहाँ ये भी कई बार कहा जाता है कि बैंक खाते, गैस कनेक्शन, घर, स्वरोजगार के लिए सुविधाएं, अच्छी सड़कें, अच्छे रेलवे स्टेशन, बेहतर हवाई अड्डे, नदियों पर बनते आधुनिक पुल, इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी, ऐसे मुद्दे चुनाव में अहमियत नहीं रखते हैं। सुना होगा आपने ऐसा। जनता ऐसे लोगों को बार बार ये कह रही है कि असली मुद्दे यही है।
Well, let me bring in the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson. We have with us Ghanshyam Tiwari, Paranjoy Guha Thakurta also, and Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Shehzad Poonawalla, and Ashutosh Mishra. Let me just first bring in Amit Malviya. How important in the scheme of things, and I know that you have also faced an avalanche of criticism personally directed at you, Amit Malviya, from this, how should I put it, this gilded patrician coterie that provides an echo chamber or has become the echo chamber for a party that is flagellating at the edges, at the margins of India's political spectrum now for a while. But nonetheless, it's perhaps for you a moment of great vindication, personal satisfaction. How important was this Bihar election and the 60 bypoll results, out of which I think you won around 40, if I'm not mistaken, or perhaps a few more?
Well, Rahul, I think every election is important. We go into them hoping to win because as political parties, it's our aspiration to hold public office so that we can serve the people. That's really why we are in public life. And Bihar is a crucial state. I mean, it's critical given the size of the state, the population, the impact that people of Bihar have world over in various disciplines. They are much accomplished and occupy high offices all over in various fields, whether it's the private sector, corporate, or even government. So in that sense, Bihar is a very, very important state for us. And we had put Bihar on this journey of development after the Lalu Raj, which had come to signify lawlessness in the state. Therefore, after 15 years, it was natural that there would be some element of anti-incumbency, and we did face that on ground. But one man who stood between that and, a mandate for NDA was, of course, Prime Minister Modi. And all along in the campaign, people spoke of him with such fondness. They remembered how several welfare programs had reached them, how they had materially changed their lives, from building toilets to providing PM Kisan Yojana Nidhi as aid to farmers, to ensuring Jan Dhan Yojana, financial inclusion, you name it. There have been several programs wherein we have touched people's lives and altered it for good.
Okay.
That is something that was resonating with people, and that is why Prime Minister, even in his address here, spoke about issues of development. And people keep accusing political parties, and particularly the Bharatiya Janata Party, of raising issues other than what impact lives and livelihoods. The fact is that 90% of our conversation is around development and governance. The rest of it is around issues that are germane and that are important to the society.
Okay.
For example, if you have institutional biases against a certain section of the society, we are going to speak about it. If we have brought in an important legislation like CAA, and you have chief ministers like Mamata Banerjee who oppose it for vote bank considerations, then we are going to speak about it. Clearly, these issues can't be termed as divisive because they're important to the society. It's important to our culture and our existence and who are we as a nation. Our national identity depends on some of these issues.
Well, I felt that the Prime Minister felt that the entire tirade that he has been facing at a very critical time, viewers. Remember, we've been facing an unprecedented external challenge, both COVID and China. Both viewers, quite momentous in scope. And the nation, as represented by a certain cabal, at least they thought they could speak for them, seemed to be, through these individuals, telling the Prime Minister that he was failing. So I think for him, as the BJP spokesperson is saying, this victory is a vindication. And I would want to bring in Mr. Thakurta and ask him, would you describe this as a national referendum against the Congress ecosystem? You know, individuals, I don't know if you are part of them, so I'm not going to put you there. But Congress ecosystem, and excuse the pun here, hoping for a Biden moment in our country. This is what was said just a few days back. So is this a national referendum against that conclave of individuals? Now, let's put this in certain degree of context. 300 seats, viewers, across the country, not just Bihar. 300 seats have thrown up a result decisively in the favor of the BJP. So, Mr. Thakurta, tell me, are you out of touch? Are you out of touch? Are you out of touch, sir?
No. I'm in touch, and I know that you are among the positivists, not the negativists. I know your channel loves praising Prime Minister Narendra Modi and loves trashing anybody opposed to him. To use your words, day after day, evening after evening, you unleash an unvarnished diatribe against anybody opposed to Mr. Modi. That's your prerogative. Now, if you think, I see the outcome of the Bihar Assembly election differently from where you do, from the way you do it.
Okay.
I think the biggest story about Bihar is that the Bharatiya Janata Party and the NDA, including the JDU, squeezed through. It wasn't a decisive victory. If you want the numbers, you have them. You have them as well as anybody else. At one stage, it went on till very late at night. People weren't sure which way it would go, but it was a very, very close contest. I think that's the first takeaway. I think the
97 seats were decided.
Is the rise.
Hang on, listen to me. Maybe you don't have the numbers. I'll post them to you. Yes,
Hello.
I'm a positivist. I believe in the power of democracy and democratic institutions, which stood the test of two very grave challenges.
Why don't you let me finish, Rahul?
No, 1 second. I just want to correct you, sir. On statistics, you can finish after that. Just give me 30 seconds on a statistic.
You keep... No. Hold on.
Okay. Forget the
statistic. I hadn't finished when you interrupted.
Okay. Go ahead.
Let me tell you, the biggest story of Bihar is the amazing rise of Tejashwi Yadav at the age of 31, okay? It's also the rise of the left. To me, these are huge stories. To me, the big story about Bihar, the Bihar elections, is how the LJP played spoiler against Nitish Kumar and the JDU in at least 25 seats. For me, the big story of Bihar is what will Nitish Kumar do from here? Yes, he is in all likelihood going to be to be sworn in for the 6th time as Chief Minister of Bihar. That's a record. But let me tell you something, and it's not my words. Let me quote an eminent political scientist, Professor Suhash Palshikar. What he says, the popularity of brand Modi is very, very significant, but it also means that it's virtually a one-man show. If it hadn't been for brand Modi, where would the Bharatiya Janata Party be? Second point is that we don't know what Mr. Nitish Kumar will do. I mean, if you want me to believe that the LJP...
Look, you may not know, but the people of Bihar certainly know, and they voted him back because he was doing something. Now, hang on. I can't listen to a 20-minute diatribe, sir. Now, listen to me. you're entitled to your views, and I'm not going to dissuade you from possessing these views, sir.
You shout me down.
I don't shout you down.
RSS, listen to me.
Make your points.
You shout me down. You don't give me half the time you give me.
You're sounding like that 1990 anchor that you were on a business program, which never ended. The stock markets came, went, crashed, but you just kept on and on, railroading, talking. Make your 3 points, sir. Get on with it. There are 6 other people.
You want to get personal, RSS?
I'm not getting personal. I'm making a point.
RSS,
You got personal when you began your diatribe. I haven't even reacted to it, my dear man.
Making a point.
PG.
You
all are
yourself
waiting
told
a
me,
turn,
Rahul,
PG.
that people call you
Dear
by
PG,
the initials,
please make your point,
RSS,
PG.
and that's very,
We
very
are waiting
appropriate.
a turn.
I didn't say it. You told me once.
Okay.
PG, get on with your turn.
One second.
PG, get on with your
Let's
turn.
just very quickly, look, he's got a point of view. He's pushed it. Let's just get reactions to it. Great. I just want to correct you about something. You've reduced this entire election to Bihar. Even there, the NDA in 98 seats, the NDA I'm talking about, had a vote share of plus 42%. Go look at your own numbers. You're a man of numbers. Have a look at them. The next 22, allow me, sir, now let me finish. The next 22 seats, the next 22 seats were where the NDA had 30 to 35%. Excuse me, had 30 to 35% of the vote share. That is hardly, sir, a negation of their view of their party or of their chief ministerial candidate, and they won the election. I mean, yes, Tejasvi has risen, great for him. Let's give him a couple of hugs and 2 roses. Good. I want to bring in Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan spoke at length, of course. If I give you that much time, the viewer might desert me. But nonetheless, I'll attempt to, sir, give you equal time. Dr. Ranganathan, go ahead. I don't want to stretch the point here, but I'm a little bemused. But go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, no, I find Mr. Paranjoy Thakurta quite endearing. Let me say this.
So do I, actually.
But unfortunately, his arguments are like expired poison.
Thank you. Very kind of you,
you don't know if they become more poisonous.
That's why we bring you back,
Anand
Mr. Thakurta. That's why we bring you back. It is endearing to have a different point of view.
You're so generous.
My pleasure.
It's always good. Times now encourages
all
so sorts of points of views. Yeah, don't worry about
what
it.
I said in the end,
Doctor,
but anyway.
Doctor, go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes. No, my pleasure. No, Rahul, very quickly, let me give you my SWOT analysis. 3 words: work, trust, and gamble. Now, let me expand on all 3 of these. Let's start with work. Now, Navika, and to an extent, yours truly, if I can pat my back, deserves Team Chola Bhaturas for what we discussed 2 days ago. This was about the X factor that Navika talked about, being women. And indeed, it has turned out to be absolutely true. Not only have the so-called gender-agnostic central schemes of Narendra Modi benefited women of Bihar, 9 million Ujjwala gas cylinders, 11 million toilets, 70% water connection. Even the prohibition, as I gave you the data, NCRB data, the domestic violence has reduced by 33%.
Yes.
Crime against women, the rate has reduced by 45%. This at a time when the national average has increased by 3 and 12% respectively. So that is the first one. The second is trust. Now, in the time of a raging pandemic, when people were talking about this huge migration being a massive issue, somehow people have trusted Narendra Modi. And I hark back to the time when Rahul Gandhi in 2019 said that his scheme, Nyaya of universal basic income, is going to be a game changer. But people, 355 million Indians earning 33 rupees a day, did not trust him.
Yeah.
Likewise with Tejasvi, when Tejasvi said, I'm going to give you 1 million jobs, people did not trust him. And finally, this is Bihar specific. Gamble. Now here, a theorist has to be right every time. A conspiracy theorist has to be right only once. So please indulge in me. Amit Shah has possibly done something akin to what Robert De Niro did in Deer Hunter. I mean, this is an incredible Russian roulette that has been played. In 32 seats, Paswan's party has garnered more votes than JDU lost by. So this was the gamble. They nearly lost Bihar. BJP and JDU nearly lost Bihar, but they won. And at the same time, what has happened now is because of Chirag Paswan, JDU is now a micro member of this coalition. BJP is ruling the roost. So work, trust and gamble. And of course, Amit Malviya is never going to talk publicly about gamble, but I think this was a hell of a gamble that BJP played.
Okay, well, I don't know if it's a gamble actually. People, of course, have aspirations, and if they think that they can grow beyond the NDA, he took his risk. In fact, it was Chirag Paswan's gamble to take entirely. Didn't come up trumps against the JDU winning seats. Unfortunately, that's the problem. But let me just show you. Look, we talk about data. I just don't make statements, viewers, without data. And I want to bring you in Shehzad and Mr. Tiwari. I just want you to see data, viewers. Now, what does the Congress tell you? The Congress tells you, and Rahul Gandhi, who was marching to Hathras, positioning himself as a messiah for Dalits and calling out Modi government's antipathy towards the discriminated social group. We have visuals of him marching. There you can see him marching to Hathras, viewers. But the positioning had no impact on the ground. Now look at this. In the SC clusters, the scheduled caste clusters, let's pull out that. That's the SC cluster. The Congress contested 18 seats. How many did it win? 7. 39% is the strike rate, viewers. This is a man who says that I am the Dalit messiah of this country. My political party represents Dalit interests. Modi betrays Dalits. BJP is an upper caste party that militates against Dalit interests. NDA won more seats than Congress in the SC cluster. Congress relegated to the 3rd position in 3 seats, viewers. The Dalits just don't trust the Congress. In Chainpur, where the BSP won, Congress got just 2.63% of the vote. So wherever there was an opportunity to vote for someone else that represents Dalit interests, the Congress was completely deserted, viewers. This is the reality on the Dalit question. Now let's look at the most backward caste cluster. If you believe the Delhi Darbar that supports the Congress left narrative, then the poorest demographic were abandoned by the Modi government as soon as the lockdown began. They will talk about Shramiks who had no food to eat, would have no jobs to go to. They were thirsting, according to them, to avenge the humiliation. But viewers, it appears that this demographic didn't see it this way. And I just want to show you the MBC cluster. Just look at it. Seats contested by the Congress 10, 1-3, strike rate 30%. What do you say? Congress's socialist plank rejected by the voter. NDA won 6 out of 10 seats in the most backward class cluster. This was the one that was hardest hit by displacement, joblessness. They are the ones who are employed in the unorganized sector. In Kishanganj, the Congress relegated to 3rd position. So, Mr. Tiwari, what are we talking about? Shehzad Poonawalla, what are we talking about? The women cluster. Rahul Gandhi says that the BJP has made a mockery of its own slogan, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Look at the women. BJP gets 79% of the women vote.
Yeah.
Congress gets 9%. These are statistics put out by the Election Commission. Go look at them. And they are saying that Tejaswi is the champion, that Congress is great. What is Mr. Thakurta reading? Which statistics is he looking at? Which Bihar is he connected to? I don't know. Statistics speak for themselves, viewers. It's all on the Election Commission website. Go there, look at it. Shehzad Poonawalla, you tell me.
Rahul,
you tell me, where are these individuals getting their statistics from? I only speak with statistics.
Now, Mr. PG, wait for your turn.
May I give you some set of
Mr. PG, please wait for your turn. Yeah, Mr. PG, can you please wait your turn?
What is Mr. PG?
You can't
what is this PG business?
To others' points of view. Thank you.
No, what is PG?
Whatever is RSS is PG. No problem.
Okay.
What he said in RSS, I said in PG.
Right.
It's very understood by everybody, the viewers especially.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, let me make a few points. First of all, Mr. PG, laugh louder. Mr. PG, Nitish Kumar will be sworn in for the 7th time, not 6th. And like you are always wrong on every prediction and every takeaway, this is also something you're wrong about. And let me tell you what you're wrong about. Now you conveniently shift the goalpost that, oh, Tejasvi has emerged as a leader. But you all weren't fighting for Tejasvi emerging as a leader. You all were fighting for RJD to form the government with the Congress party. By the way, the RJD lost seats compared to 2015 elections. So they've not done better. In fact, the BJP has scored a much better strike rate. Now, the reason why I come to this, the real reason why the ecosystem is so scared today, Rahul, is because here is a ecosystem that was trying to project the BJP as always as an upper caste Banya party. They were very happy till the time the BJP was in that mode. But today, Rahul, the convincing figures, statistics that you've put in front of the people, election after election, these people try to pivot Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka, Congress as the saviors of the poor, the saviors of the Muslim, the saviors of the Dalits. But the people of that community have said, no, we don't see Congress as that. In fact, Modi, even in his messaging just half an hour ago, has positioned himself as the true messiah of the poor. And this scares the ecosystem the most. Because they were okay with the BJP looking like a party of a certain elite class. But today, Modi has convincingly repositioned the party and has taken the party where? He has taken the party to Telangana. He's taken the party to Manipur. They are exploring new grounds. And now Kamal is not only blooming in Bihar, but the message was for Bengal. You saw the messaging that he gave, and the Vikaswad versus Parivarwad.
Let me also show you.
That
Viewers,
kind of narrative
they've called Modi divisive.
Modi.
They said Modi discriminates against Muslims and minorities. They cited the CA law, scrapping Article 370, banning triple talaq. Some even attacked the Supreme Court for succumbing to the lure of Hindutva after it delivered the Ram Temple verdict. But surprisingly, the Congress even failed to win the trust of Muslim voters. Viewers, I'm going to show you another set of statistics. So the Mahadalits don't vote for the Congress or its ecosystem. The OBC, the poorest of the poor, also don't vote. The women don't vote. Even the Muslims don't vote, viewers. 33% strike rate. Secular pitch is also not convincing voters. Mr. Tiwari, are these statistics wrong? They are from the Election Commission.
I think let me add, because you are quoting a lot of statistics, let me add the recent 7 p.m. news article from the Economic Times that says nearly 2/3 of winning candidates in Bihar polls have criminal charges against them.
Criminal charges?
68% to be precise, which is up 10% from last time, and 51% have serious criminal charges.
Sir, should I tell you,
it also
when it comes to women...
I did not interrupt anybody. Let no one be rattled, please. I patiently waited for my turn.
Lalu Prasad Yadav
there is a
got
massive
convicted for
takeover by
corruption and crime.
Let him finish.
81% are crorepati's. So I don't know why people are rattled. This is Economic Times. This is not fake news. As far as Prime Minister's oratory is concerned, yes, it is magical oratory. It can take you away from the reality
for corruption.
that in Bihar, more people voted for Mahagathbandhan in terms of absolute numbers and percentage of vote shares than NDA. If it was not for the last-minute magic and trickstery, and if it was for fair play of numbers, Mahagathbandhan will form the government. But we have grown to understand how things play out in this country.
Sir, even your vote share number is wrong.
How things have played out.
Even your vote share number is wrong. How many seats? No, 1 minute. 1 second. Even your vote share number is wrong.
In this country, both in organized sector and unorganized sector. And this is precisely the reason why
Mr. Tiwari, it's not just Bihar.
In front of 2 experienced campaigners.
Sir, it's not just Bihar. 21 out of 29 seats in Madhya Pradesh. Nearly all the seats in Uttar Pradesh, your own state. You represent the Samajwadi Party. Why did they not win in Uttar Pradesh, sir, this time?
Well, if you choose to not put out facts to your viewer, it is not my fault. Your viewers can see that 6 out of these 7 seats,
you won one seat.
They have nearly retained their seats after a lot of administrative trickstery.
They belong to BJP. Did you contest them?
Administrative chickenry, EVMs.
That is your editorial
You just
call.
want to constantly denigrate the Election Commission. You want to go there. You want to tell the world how a dysfunctional democracy we are.
Understand what is going on here.
Mr. Tiwari, I don't know. You're just reading up too much on the American elections. I think you've got your countries confused totally. We're not talking about America. We're talking about ARA. We are talking about Aurangabad.
In Ara, specifically in Ara,
We are,
the last
please,
10 rounds, you look at it.
sir, I beg you, start reading the right
Rahul, do you
papers.
remember-
I don't know what you are reading. I don't know what you are in touch with. I don't know who you're speaking to. Come down to earth, sir. Your Harvard degree, those days are gone now. Finished. It's over. You have committed yourself to India.
But it's okay. We have seen.
Arey bhai, I'm asking you a question.
Many states.
In Uttar Pradesh, let me ask you a question. In Uttar Pradesh, sir, let me ask you.
Madhya Pradesh, they were able to break a government with help of.
My dear man, let me ask you a question.
In Bangalore, in Karnataka, you have Mr. Yediyurappa.
You stole Shiv Sena from them. You stole the entire Shiv Sena stable to make a government.
They even tied up with the BSP. What are you talking about, Shehzad? They even tied up with the BSP. Talking about opportunism. In Bengal, they will tie up with the left.
From the NDA.
In Kerala, they fight the left.
About losing a government in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh.
Look, 1 minute. The point is, I asked you 3 questions. I've shown you the statistics. You still believe that there is an election that is going on some other planet where some other people have won. I just don't understand it. Then you blame the ecosystem of the BJP. Then you come out and you blame the courts. Then you blame the election commission.
The media in this country will not understand.
Okay, let me bring in Amit Malviya. Amit Malviya, they're blaming the system. They're saying you've co-opted everything. You've ruined everything. Respond to that.
And will vote accordingly.
India votes today for Modi's message. 300 seats. We got results for yesterday. Not just Bihar's. 243. We got 300 seat results.
You know, the fact is that every time the opposition loses an election, they start blaming everybody from the EVM to the polling officer to the election commission, everyone except themselves. And they are completely silent if they by any chance happen to win an election. I mean, did you hear them complain about the EVM when Delhi was won, or when Jharkhand was won, or when Chhattisgarh or Rajasthan were won? The answer is no. The fact is that they revel in bringing down the institutions of this country, which have stood the test of time. They know that they have no other way to find or hide their embarrassment, and therefore they come up with all these lame excuses. Their attempt is to confuse the electorate and seed the idea that our institutions are not working. And that, to my mind, is a very, very dangerous thing to do. Because what you're doing is that you're undermining the democratic process.
It's a symbol of progress for Bharatiya Janata Party, for Prime Minister.
I'm going to take a short break, but you just have to pay attention to 4 sets of statistics, and I'm pulling them out and putting them right there for you. Look at the SC cluster. These are some of the poorest in our country. These are Mahadalits. Seats contested by the Congress, 18. Seats won 7. Strike rate, 39%. MBC cluster. These are those who work in the unorganized sector, should have been decimated by the policies of the Modi government. The Congress only wins 30% of those seats that it contests in that cluster. Muslim cluster. Strike rate of the Congress, 33%. Contests 18, seats won 6. The Muslims don't trust them. The Mahadalits don't trust them. The EBCs don't trust them. And even the women viewers, look at that, don't trust the Congress party. What to do? 79% in Bihar of the women electorate has voted for the BJP. 9% Congress. I'm taking a short break.